All right, today we're going to talk about multiplying integers. There are two big rules for multiplying integers, and it's way easier than adding or subtracting integers. So one thing you need to remember is when you are multiplying two numbers that have the same sign, your answer or your product will be positive. So let's see what that looks like. So if we did 3 times 2, and again the parentheses also means a multiplication symbol. So that says 3 times 2, our answer would be 6. 3 and 2 are both positive. They're the same sign, so our answer is positive. How about negative 4 times negative 5? Okay, both my 4 and 5 are both negative, so my answer is going to be positive. I'm still multiplying normally. 4 times 5 is 20. So what happens if you have different signs? If one of them is positive and one of them is negative? Well, when that happens, you have a negative answer or a negative product. 7 times negative 2. Okay, again, I'm going to multiply normally and get 14. But because my 7 is positive and my 2 is negative, my answer is negative. Negative 5 times 3. Multiplying normally to get 15. I have one negative number, one positive number, so my answer is negative. All right. So that's your multiplying integer rules. If they're the same signs, if two numbers are both positive or two numbers are both negative, you will have a positive answer. If you have one that's positive and one that's negative, then you have a negative answer. We're also going to talk about exponents today. Now, if you remember, exponents is shortening repeated multiplication. So instead of writing out a problem like this, we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We could say that this is the same as 2 to the 4th power. Okay, 2 to the 4th power. So we're using the number 2 and we're using it 4 times. Okay, and the answer to that, 2 times 2 would be 4. 4 times another 2 would be 8. 8 times a 2 would be 16. Oh, let's make that big again. Okay. So we can also have numbers that are repeated that are negative. And here's where you need to pay attention. The parentheses makes a difference. Here's what I mean by that. Here we have two different types of problems. One that has parentheses wrapping that negative sign with the number, and this problem here does not have the parentheses, so the negative is not really with that 5. So let's see what it looks like when we're working out the problems. So in this first problem where I have the parentheses, this means that I'm using negative 2 two times. So the work would look like negative 2 times negative 2. And a negative times a negative would give me a positive answer. And that would give me an answer of 4. All right. So when the parentheses is there, that negative stays with that number. So we had negative 2 times negative 2. Okay, this problem doesn't have the parentheses, so it's worked out differently. We're going to forget about that negative sign right now, and we're going to square that 5. We're going to take 5 times itself. 5 times 5 is 25. But we wanted the negative answer of 5 squared. So now I need to put in that negative sign. So without the parentheses, you have a negative answer. With the parentheses, it could go either way. It depends how many times you're using that number. For example, if I had -3 to the third power. There we go. So that would say I'm using the -3 times itself 3 times. All right, let's move this up a little here. Well, I know that -3 times -3 would give me a positive answer, and that would give me 9. So I've used this part of the problem and got that answer. Well, I still have another -3 to multiply with this 9. All right, so let's do that. Okay, now I have a positive times a negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and it's going to be -27. So depending on your exponent, if it's an even exponent, your answer would be positive. If it's an odd exponent, your answer will be negative. That's with parentheses. Now without parentheses, it's just going to be a negative answer. Get done with your multiplying, no matter how many, if you're doing it an even amount of times or an odd amount of times, your answer will still be negative.